Hello, guys. It's a beautiful day, and you're welcome to another lovely episode of Life and Layers with Mr. Tosin. This is the podcast where we help Christians to grow their faith. Uh, we are not perfect, nobody is perfect, but at least we can always help one another in our shortcomings and grow together. So, guys, today I have with me a very, very wonderful person. This is a super talented musical artist. This is somebody that was, born with the talent. Um, Myself, I cannot sing. In fact, I cannot sing to save myself. I could recall my younger ones used to say that I was stone deaf. I don't know what that means. So like, it's that bad. Okay, but here with me, I have Victor, who has been doing this thing from when he was young. Like I saw a throwback of him when he was probably like 6 years old or something with the sax, and man was just blasting like wow. It's just a great guy. So, Victor, it's nice.
Thank you for having me.
having-
Six years old may be a stretch, but but thank you for having me.
Oh, so when did you start?
Um, I'd say sax was a lot later, but
Oh,
in
okay.
terms of ministering,
Mm.
that would have started around 10 or 11 in this very church.
Oh,
Yeah.
in this, wow, 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 wow. That's nice. That's great to hear. Okay, so, guys, today we're going to be talking about spirituality and gospel sounds. Um, okay, but I'll start with music. Music is believed to be one of the two universal languages. There is money and there's music. Like in the world, everybody accepts money.
hmm
Do you like money?
I love one.
Who doesn't love money? Okay, so then there's music. It's all around the world. You just hear the sound and you start to vibe. Growing up in Nigeria, there are lots of songs from different countries. We had Avilo. These guys were singing. We didn't know the lyrics. We didn't know the language. We didn't. But once the beat comes on, we were vibing. So and music is as old as time. And the Bible will recall Moses. He wrote songs. Some of the judges, after they win battles, they wrote songs. And so music is very, very old. But today we are looking at gospel music in particular.
Mhm.
You get me? So for me, somebody told me now you're the expert, I'm not the expert. Now somebody told me that because I know that there are different genres of music.
Mhm.
I know there's rap, there is hip hop, there's blues, there's jazz, and all of that. So he told me that gospel music itself is not a genre of music. Is that, first of all, is that right?
Oof. That one is that one's kind of I've seen controversy around that. I
Okay.
think that I would say I wouldn't say it's a genre of music because
Okay.
I believe that you can split gospel music into different genres. So I believe that if you can split it into different genres, I don't believe it can be a genre in itself. You know what I mean? You can sing gospel, while like you said with jazz, you can
Mm-hmm.
use hip hop, you can use rap, you can use a bunch of different genres of music to sing gospel music. I don't think I like I the same way you can say, there's songs about I don't know, like there's love songs, there's these different
Mm.
type of songs. You can sing love songs in
Mm.
different ways.
Okay, I get you. Oh, so the same way we can do that is how we can also do gospel music.
hmm
Oh, that's
So
lovely.
if it's I just believe that gospel
Mm.
is split into it's just you can choose what way you want to sing
One
it.
sing,
You can
yeah.
choose what way you want to express yourself.
Mm.
But I
Mm.
don't think in itself it's a genre.
Okay. Let's go back a little bit.
Okay.
Many secular artists started in the church,
hmm
many of them. So now for you personally, how did your journey into music go? Like, were you from a household of musical background where my parents are musicians,
Yeah.
or it was how did you go into music?
Um that that one goes far. It's
Oh,
my
okay.
that starts with my mom.
Oh,
So for a context, my
uh,
dad um came from a very musical family.
oh,
My late granddad from my dad's side, he was a choir master in church, those kind of things. and my dad came from a family of people who could sing and play instruments. Um, he himself was always in the choir as the years went by, but it's funny. It's like that's not where the love for music came from. That came from my
mm,
mom. Um, because when my dad and my parents moved to Europe, that's kind of a side of my dad's life that I think he may have left with his own father. You know what I mean?
mm, mm.
Because I know how close they were. And it just didn't really translate as much when he came down to Europe. But for me, my mom was always, I've been in church. I grew up in church, and my mom was always trying to push me into kind of, or like she wants me to serve, she wants me to get involved, she wants me to pick up an instrument, she wants me to do something,
Mm.
not only because she wanted me to be involved in church, but because she wanted me to have a hobby and a pastime.
Oh,
Because
okay.
throughout my youth, picking up having friends and stuff. I wasn't very social.
Oh, mm,
And it was, she kind of, I think she might have saw it as a way for me to maybe break through that mold and interact with people more, especially when I started coming to church here. It was, um, I didn't have, I didn't know anyone here when I first came here. The way I started meeting my friends here was, oh, we stay after church, we're all drumming, everyone's touching the keyboard. No
mm,
one knows what they're
mm,
doing, but
mm.
people are doing things. So my mom kind of tried to she my mom invested a lot into what I do. Into all the instruments I learned, she put money there.
Oh,
Into knowing how to minister, she put money there.
mm,
All of
mm.
this thing, it didn't just happen. My mom put the money there. My dad put the money there. It wasn't free.
Wow.
But that was where the journey started. So I had a guitar. That was the very first instrument I learned how to play. Um, with the teacher called Pastor Paul, who's from Nigeria, who's now in Nigeria, who used to live in Ireland.
Mm, okay.
And I used to learn guitar back then, and then I kind of transitioned then from him into learning a bit deeper into what music is about. The black way of learning instruments.
Mm, mm,
Um, with you're learning by ear, learning everything by ear. That's what you're being taught to. You need to know how to play what they're singing. It doesn't matter if you have notes or not in front of you.
mm.
So
Okay.
that time changed, and then
Oh,
I transitioned into depths of music. Then
mm.
after that,
Wow. A big shout out to Mommy Victor and Daddy Victor for raising such a fine young man and investing so much in his career.
mm,
Well, that's very beautiful. You know, myself, I tried to learn the piano. Um, yeah, I think it was like 2006 or thereabouts. And my mom had a school, so one of the teachers in the school, he knew how to play the piano very well.
mm,
So, but maybe because it was free,
yeah,
since he's one of my mom's employees, so he wanted to teach me for free. So I didn't even take him serious. I only went so all I knew how to do was the do re mi stuff, how to do my fingers. And
mm,
and for even at that time it was like too much for me.
yeah,
I was like, oh god, these people are their wild, like what's all this? But so I just teach it and I don't have to play an instrument.
yeah. Mm.
Okay, now so let me ask you this question. Do you think music is spiritual?
I think I think music is spiritual, but I think you can make a lot of things spiritual,
Hmm.
whether they are. I'm no, it's about thinking about how I phrase this.
Okay.
Music is spiritual if you choose it to be. So if you choose to let music influence your life in the wrong way, then you can say music is not spiritual. But if you choose to try and spread the gospel through music, if you choose to praise God through music, if you choose to let music affect you in a happy way, in a
Hmm.
joyful way, then music can 100% be spiritual. Music is very powerful. So if you don't use music in the right way,
Hmm.
I think it can affect you negatively. So it's about choosing to use it spiritually. That's how music becomes spiritual, in my
Because
opinion.
in the Bible, the story of Saul,
Hmm.
when Saul was being tortured or being haunted by an evil spirit, they will call David
Hmm.
for David to play I think it was a harp.
Yeah, that
I
happened.
think that was the instrument. So whenever David plays the harp, the evil spirit from Saul
Hmm.
goes away. So that's from there. That's why I think that probably music too
Hmm.
is. is spiritual.
Yeah,
You get
but David David is choosing to play the way he's playing it. I
okay.
think it's very different if because you know where his heart is when he's playing what he's playing. It's about where your heart is and what you're deciding to play. That's that music is very powerful, like I'm saying. So if he was not a person with the right kind of heart, the right kind of soul, a person who was choosing to let music affect him in a different type of way, if he had played the harp there, it would have had any effect. It probably wouldn't have.
Mm, mm,
So it's about the way you choose to let music affect you. It's about the way you choose to spread music around to other people. It's not only you that you by you playing a song, it's not only you that it affects. It's so if the person beside you, it can affect them in a different way. So it's about how you choose to use the music that can decide whether
mm.
it's spiritual or not.
Okay, cool. So now, quickly, let's talk about the genres of music
Hmm.
and their background. So, like you said, gospel music is very broad.
Hmm.
You could choose to sing in the different genres as long as it's. But what is gospel music? What really is gospel music?
Okay. I believe that gospel music you is music created to glorify God. So like specifically for that purpose.
Hmm.
So I think that say for example, you can take any gospel song, um like Nathaniel Bassey, a song that he has written, and he wrote that song for the sole purpose of glorifying the Lord. Like
Okay,
that is what I believe gospel music to be.
to be for the purpose of glorifying God.
Hmm.
Okay, now then, if we are trying to glorify God, does it matter the background or the origin? No, that's right. Or the origin of a particular genre of music. You know, um, like they say, we shouldn't mix things of the world with
Hmm.
things of God. So, if a particular genre of music now was originated in the secular way, as kind of a dark background to
Hmm.
it, and so is it right for us to also have gospel music in that particular genre?
I personally don't think it's a problem. I think that again, it's about the message you're trying to send out. I think the more genres it enters, the more gospel is going to spread. If
Hmm.
people see rock and roll as a very devilish, evil thing,
Yes. Yeah.
but I've seen people who do rock and roll that are Christians or who have been converted to Christian that chose not to leave the genre, but chose to change how they use the genre. So if you
Hmm.
start making gospel music in a rock and roll genre, just because of its history doesn't mean things can't change. I think that it would affect people who listen to that type of music in a different way to think, oh, like it can bring people who would never even listen to jazz or anything like that or any sort of gospel music or any sort of worship. It can bring them into a different kind of light and think, oh, this is this is what the Lord is, or the music can affect them in a type of way. I just think it's about how you choose to use the the genre, like I was
Hmm.
saying.
Okay. Well, the one of the reasons why I asked that is that sometimes um the way the people that sing a particular genre of music, their character, the way they display in that kind of music and all of that, it's it's probably not in a way that glorifies God.
Okay.
And it could be probably in the symbolism, in the kind of symbols they do, the kind of way they dress, the uh, their mode of performance. You know, it might not really be glorifying God. So should we have gospel music? In that aspect. Like today we have like the one that is trending now, the gospel,
Mm.
Afro hip hop gospel. When and sometimes you find it difficult to even differentiate between people that are singing gospel music
Hmm.
and people that are in the secular music.
Yeah.
So you might probably have to listen deep and say, oh, okay, the lyrics is actually gospel, but the sound, the what, everything, it's screaming secular.
Mm.
So how then so how does that really add up?
I don't think I think the phrase screaming secular is the problem.
Okay.
I don't
Hmm.
think there is a secular sound per se. I think that if if for example, I outside of gospel music, the only thing I ever listened to was Afrobeats because of the house I grew up in. I couldn't tell you five artists outside of it.
Mm,
But I think if you had an Afrobeat song and you know, or if you wanted to create a gospel song with the beat of Afrobeats in the background, I don't think that that is necessarily a problem. I think that especially in a world where times have changed, um, you're trying to draw a younger crowd, younger people into church. I think that having genres that appeals to them more is the kind of thing that will draw younger people into church. I think I think the I think sitting around and expecting things to stay the same
mm,
forever,
mm,
I don't think that's right. I think things are going to change, and I think like look at where we are in comparison to just 10 years ago, where everyone was carrying Blackberries around. Now iPhone 16s are out. Like I think as the times move on, I think music evolves as well as gospel itself. You know, like I think that as as music is changing, I feel like us in ministry, us in the Christian world, have to understand that we can use the modern music or the sound of modern music. Not
mm,
all modern music. Don't get me wrong. There's
mm,
certain things that we shouldn't be hearing, but
mm,
I think there's certain styles that we can definitely use in church, and I think that all over the world is beginning to happen already. I think that there's certain sounds that bring a reaction out of people in the Christian world and is still tied back to Christian music. And I think it is actually something that is positively affecting the ministry at the minute.
mm. That's cool. Well, you can call me old school, but I don't really buy that because sometimes I feel like the devil himself, he's very powerful,
Mm.
and some of these genres of music started through his own influence. I feel he could also plant people,
Hmm.
you know,
Yeah.
he could also plant people into that gospel music scene
Mm.
and, try to win souls to himself. Or don't you think that? Don't you think that's possible?
I think and I think you could say that about anything. You know, I think you could say that, you know, the devil could plant himself in all sorts of things, and it's about being discerning as to what you're choosing to listen to and what you're choosing to let affect you. I think that it's about deciding what you're listening to, and it's about choosing what's right and what's wrong. I'm not saying every song that comes on you have to pray before you listen to it,
Mm,
but I believe that if you're listening to a song, whether Christian or secular, and you think that well, let's not say whether Christian or secular. Let's say if you're listening to a secular song, right, and this song is pushing the wrong kind of message. This song is not representing the lifestyle you want to live. It's
mm-hmm,
talking about smoking weed, doing drugs, this and that.
mm-hmm,
Like, you should know that that's not the type of song you should be listening to. But if there's a song that is pushing, or that's not pushing any message, maybe it's just like, maybe it's John Legend, right? John
mm,
Legend is one of those people who just makes music and makes great music. More often than not, it's not bad music. It's not like, it's not negative music. It's not something that affects your life in a bad way. It's just stuff that sounds great. Like, you should, that's there's a choice there. There's a choice between listening to music that affects you in the wrong way,
mm-hmm.
or listening to the right type of music that affects you in the right way. And it's about being discerning as to which parts of it you're listening
Okay.
to and which ones you bring to church if you are going to bring it there.
Okay, no, so just like you said, we have guys who sing about stuff
Mm.
like weed and stuff like that.
Hmm.
So now, is it okay for a gospel artist to now and feature a secular artist that is known to sing that kind of music? So is it okay for him to bring him to the studio and say, okay, let's sing the gospel song?
Mm. I this one I know is quite controversial.
Okay,
I've seen a lot of this one. So
okay.
this is one of the ones that I would have expected to come up.
Mm-hmm,
In my opinion, in my opinion, I think it's a double-edged sword with this. You can I think that bringing gospel music into the mainstream through people who have big platforms is important. I think
Mm-hmm.
that there's no denying the influence that huge singers have in the world. Like people will listen to whatever they put out. So I think that there's huge influence in having them on songs. And like if for example, let's say someone like Naira Marley put out a song, every Marleyan that there is
Mm-hmm.
will listen to his song.
Correct. That's correct.
But and I believe that there is some sort of a positive, a small positive in the fact that if he's featured on a track, every person that listens to his music will listen to that track because he's on it. But I also think it's about being discerning at the same time. Like it's not everyone that is I think there's no perfect person. So there's
Okay.
people who have done bad stuff in their lives before
Mm-hmm.
that are Christians that want to change, that want to do the right thing.
Hmm.
But I think again, it's about being discerning. Don't I'm not you can't be picking someone who is, you know, doing if you're not living the lifestyle that you want to reflect and be putting them on tracks with you because you're not, you know, it's about being equally yoked at the same time. It's not you can't just be picking random people and putting them on tracks with you. It's about picking the right type of people. Yeah, their lives might not be perfect, but who, if they're actively trying to live a Christian life and they're trying and they want to be saved,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's a problem.
Mm. So you're cool with a song put out by Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj now, for instance. Are you okay with that song?
um,
Or and that's one. And
mhm,
secondly, take a look at Kanye, for instance. Now, you
Kanye is
know,
just different.
you know Kanye is
It's
different.
just different.
You know, I could recall. I think it was around maybe 2019. It was, yeah,
Mm,
2019, just before COVID, that he started his Sunday service
yeah,
or whatever he called it. You
his
know, but
group, yeah.
for me, I could I could kind of see through all of that.
Hmm.
This thing is not inspired by God. This thing is not inspired by the Holy Spirit. But you know, so many Christians were like, yeah, yeah, yeah. As long as Jesus is glorified, as long as and so many people put up with it. Years after, look at look at where Kanye is right now. So what are your thoughts on that?
I think Kanye himself is a very checkered person. So I
Okay.
think that he has I think the with the story with him stems far beyond ministry. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
But in regards to the the Nicki Minaj and kind of Tasha Cobbs thing that you're talking about, I completely understand what you're saying. Like, you know, you can't come one day and be, you know, twerking and
Like
this
you know
different
Nicki
type of
Minaj, you
things.
listen to her songs
Yeah, like
sometimes,
I understand
you
what
know
you're
what she
saying.
talks about, and then you're having a so would you say that the Holy Spirit even was even involved in that production at all?
I think that again, it's kind of going back to what I was saying before. Nicki may not be the right person to put on a track like that,
Hmm.
but the other side of that is the millions and millions of views that's gonna get with someone like as powerful and like a spiritual powerhouse like Tasha Cobbs putting music out there to millions of people that wouldn't have even thought of listening to a gospel track. I think that there's also a positive there in this in a way. I
Hmm.
get what you're saying in terms of Nicki Minaj and the songs she's put out in the past. I completely understand that.
Hmm.
But I also think that there is a slight positive there because now when Tasha Cobbs does put out her next song, the people that would have been, you know, listening to Nicki Minaj may just start
Mhm.
to venture over
I
and
okay,
give them a
so
different perspective a little bit. You know what I mean? But I completely get what you're saying with the kind of Cardi B aspect of it
hmm.
because there are it does get a little kind of gray with because you don't know where her mind is or what her
Hmm.
intentions are or how deep her fate is.
Yeah.
But we know Tasha Cobbs and we know we tend to see kind of what her heart is because she is very out there and she just put out a lot of very powerful music and music that has affected a lot of people in the right ways. So I think putting with someone with a platform as big as Nicki's and stuff like that, I think it could push that message out towards a larger audience in a way, even though Cardi B may not be the best person to use on that kind of a track.
So there are positives
And negatives, yeah.
and
I believe
negatives.
there's both,
You do
honestly.
believe there's both, so probably one or two souls might be won through that, right?
I think it goes far beyond one or two. She gets, if there's millions of people listening to this, I think that I think you'll go far. I think you go far beyond one or two.
Okay, but then do you think that many gospel artists these days are more obsessed with going commercial than actually spreading the gospel? They just want to get popular, be out there rather than actually.
Yeah, and this is actually one of the things I've thought about a lot because there is some people who have, you know, used, let's say, use some other artists to get into a higher position, but it's about what they do when they're there. I think that when they certain people get there and you know they you can see that their intentions are never right from the start.
Mm,
Whereas certain people use the platform, they push up, and then what they use their platform there glorifies God in a huge way. The music they put out, the way they live their lives, like it affects people in the right way. People kind of look up to them and they're looking up to the right person. Whereas, certain people will use the platform, they'll get there and you'll realize it was never about God in the first place. It was never about ministry in the first place. It was
mm,
about them. It's about their follower count going up. It was about people knowing who they were.
mm.
So I do believe that there are certain people that have used those kind of connections to, you know,
Okay.
to influence it wrongly. But I also believe that there's people who have used it in the right way and have spread the gospel in a huge way because of it.
Mm. So those that just decided to go commercial, it was from the onset. That was the mind that they had, right?
I think that if I think I know some people that have won, maybe some gospel competitions and stuff and have
Mm-hmm.
pushed up and have gotten big promotion, and then even though they used gospel to get up, they switch to secular music.
Mm.
And but for a lot of those people, I'm like, they'll be back because they don't know who gave them the talent in the first place.
Mm.
But I also believe that there's some people who from the jump were like, I just want to be famous.
Mm.
Like it was not it was never really about God. It was just that I want
Uh,
people to know who I am. And
mm.
some people had that kind of perspective from the onset.
Okay, and now that takes us to the issue of finance now.
Mm,
You're a gospel artist yourself.
hmm
So these days we hear sometimes that gospel artists charge exorbitant fees,
mm,
to come and minister or perform.
hmm
Because some of them is not even ministration they do,
Yeah,
some of them is performance
that's
they do.
fair. That's fair.
So and then there's the argument that, oh, it's not easy putting out a song, it's not easy doing promotion,
Hmm
running record label, paying this, paying that,
Yeah.
and also you have to eat as a gospel artist.
hmm
So, but then, where do we draw the line? How uh, there's how do I put this? I believe that this is just my own belief now that whatever it is that you're earning, if God's blessing is on it, regardless of the amount,
hmm
it's going to go a long way
hmm
and it's going to show. There are so many people that are earning more, but people that are earning lesser look better and have achieved better than them.
Yeah. Yeah. The topic of music, the topic of money in general is always dodgy, regardless of what it's in. I think the topic of music and ministry is always something that's always been a little gray as well because I don't believe there's any right answer in terms of like how much people take and
Mhm,
on what people decide to take and what they don't decide to take. But in terms of in defense of some of the bigger artists, like people the likes of like Tim Godfrey and stuff that are very, they're very busy, they're very everywhere, they
mhm.
release a lot of music, these kind of things. Like in their defense, like you've I always used to um my apostle always says this thing, something like, I'm just paraphrasing because I don't know exactly how
Okay.
he says it, but he always says like if you're this and this is not even in regards to church per se. Like this is, for example, like if someone was going out to do a talk or something, right, and they were going to be um paid to do or whatever, like what someone is going to give you is, it's what you're worth. So like
Hmm.
someone like Tim Godfrey, who is up here, like who is an extremely anointed man, who is everywhere
Mm-hmm.
doing everything all the time, you can't expect him to go somewhere and I go the same place as him and we are both getting the same honorarium or something like that.
Mm.
Like you can't expect that because there's so much more to people would fall over trying to get to him in terms of the power and the anointing he carries. Like
Okay.
you can't expect him to just do it for to do what he's doing and not receive what he's worth for doing what he's doing. There's also so much more that goes into that in terms of these people that are in higher ministry with or who are artists with the like with the travel, and on top of the fact that when they do go to these places, a lot of these people don't work, like they won't work a job at home. So they've also got to live from the time they've done one ministration to the next time they minister.
Mm.
So it's not as simple as, oh, I'm just going to take this small money and go, because between now and the next time you minister, how are you going to put food on your own table? Like what you're doing is for God, and you, because of what they're doing is for God, they've put all other parts of their life aside. If they're going to do that, they've got to be able to live a life in the meantime, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
So the money that goes into the life they into their life in terms of traveling, different things like that. Even when they do make music,
Mm.
the people that produce for them, the studio time they pay for, and then to release it, it costs money to release on all platforms too. So, and even when you do release, the platforms take small fees from everything you do release. So it's not as simple as, this. I believe that if people are going to take money for ministry, some people, you've got to, if you're going to bring someone, you've got to kind of pay them what they carry. And
Mm.
I'm not even going to
Mm.
say paying them, you got to honor them.
Mm.
That's why it's called honorarium in the first place.
Okay. 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 That's good. But yeah, gospel artists, I know you'll definitely get there very soon. Okay. So on the final note, so do you feel that churches are doing enough for gospel artists, and do you feel they should do better, or what areas do you think that churches, especially churches with big names and the finance and everything, do you think
Mm.
they are doing enough?
Honestly, no, I don't.
Hmm.
I like
Okay.
I honestly believe that churches could do better, and it's not even in terms of money. I think if there is someone, I think people grow up in certain places,
Okay.
and they people can see that the Spirit of God is filled in them,
Hmm.
even from young. And you should be doing everything you can to make sure people know this name. People can tap
Hmm.
from this same
From this
anointing that this
anointing.
person has.
Hmm.
But churches don't push them. I like they don't spread their names around. They don't tell everyone about them. They don't put their names on social media. And I'm not saying that you should go out and, say this person's amazing, this person is that. But like if this person is about to do something, you should be doing everything in your power to make sure that everyone knows about this person.
Hmm.
Like that's the bare minimum, I think. I don't think if you can't invest in them or whatever it is, fine. But the minimum you should be able to invest is word of mouth. The minimum you should be able to invest is to even just repost something on your story. I think people there's too many people falling through the cracks in ministry, too many people who have the power of God in them, and people just haven't heard about them yet,
Wow.
and they're falling through the cracks because people aren't working hard enough to put them in the right areas. If if someone just takes a chance on someone, if this person needs a bit of studio time and the church is like, you know what, we'll put you there,
Hmm.
and like that song could be the one thing to change everything, not
Okay.
just change their own life, but the people who hear their music, to change everyone. So I
Hmm.
think if there was more effort put into pushing people
Mm-hmm.
that have grown up where you are,
Mm-hmm.
I think the gospel singers and gospel artists in general
Hmm.
will be pushed way into a bigger light, even
But
as big as secular
but
people.
in defense of some churches, they try to do these things that you say, but then the artist comes and gets the fame, and then it switches.
And that's true, and that happens.
It
But
happens.
and that honestly that happens, and I completely understand that. But that can't be the reason that it it doesn't happen after that. Because yeah, someone might have done something bad. It's like playing for a football team. You know, you have PTSD from the goalkeeper that did rubbish to you the last time. Doesn't mean the next goal. It doesn't mean when you have get your next goalkeeper, you sit the defense right in front of him. You have to
No.
trust them.
Hmm.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
Okay.
it just because the first person didn't do what you expected them to do, yes, you should proceed with caution, 100%. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't try at all. I
Okay.
think you can be like, okay, yeah, we will. Maybe you won't put as much in, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't put anything in at all. Still try and push them. Still try and put them in the right
Okay.
areas. But maybe you can be like, oh, we put 200, 250 euro into that guy. Maybe you drop it down to 100, 50
Hmm.
euro. Because that's different. But
But
it still goes a
do
long way.
something,
Yeah,
and
100%.
rather than just sitting back and just watching them.
100%. Because that could be the person. But because of the PTSD you have from the last person,
Hmm.
this person is now reaping the rewards of it, even though it's not a reward. They're getting the worst part of it just because of something you experienced in the past. You ever heard this thing about relationships where they're like, don't let your ex change the way you
Hmm. Do
you
you
know
see?
you see girls in the future.
Hmm.
It's the very
Okay.
same way.
Okay. Okay. So finally tell us what's next for you. What do you have? Anything coming up? How's your ministry going?
I just did my second year of Praise Overflow. Praise Overflow 2025. It was amazing. It was powerful. And there is 100% going to be Praise Overflow 2026,
By
but
the grace of God.
amen. But there is going to be stuff in between that. There's loads of plans, loads of things to come soon.
Hmm.
That will go up on the Praise Overflow Instagram, which is Praise Overflow underscore on Instagram, and that
Praise
will
overflow underscore.
yeah,
Praise overflow underscore.
and
Okay.
that will tell you more about what is to come because there is going
Okay.
to be some studio sessions. There's going to be some
Oh.
different things
Okay.
that not only are we going to do in person, but we are going to do some stuff to go online, to go on YouTube and stuff.
Okay.
It's anyone who was at Praise Overflow last week, or I think 2 weeks ago it was such a powerful evening. Praise is such a lost thing in this generation.
Hmm.
Everyone worships, everyone does worship nights. Praise is gone missing somewhere, and people don't
Yeah.
understand the
Sense
importance
of
of it
praise.
because it's right beside worship. It's praise and worship for a reason. It's not just worship and then
Worship.
praise is somewhere there. They're right
Hmm.
beside each other for a reason, and the praise and ministry has just disappeared somewhere because
Hmm.
every time anyone is doing anything, it's a worship night. That's
Hmm.
why praise overflow exists in the first place, to bringing
Okay.
praise out there.
All right. So you've heard it, guys. So please let's do and follow our man Victor. So it was really wonderful having you on the show. So at least we've learned one or two that gospel music has different genres. There could be soul, there could be rap, there could be anything that falls under gospel music, as long as it glorifies
The Lord.
God.
Mm-hmm.
And um, also have the Holy Spirit to be able to discern before you listen to a music,
Mm-hmm.
and don't get influenced negatively by it. And churches, you heard, please do better. Invest more in the life of the musical artists in your parish, in your area. Um, just do something about it, and God will continue to help you. Okay, so guys, it was a very wonderful episode, and thank you for watching. So please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to be making another part with another gospel artist. He is a Gen Z gospel artist, and he gave us the old Gen Z vibe. He gave us the way they see things. So I'm going to be having a chat with somebody who is much older, and to see if that generation is actually cool with all of these things that you have said. Okay, and then we'll find out next week.
Yeah,
And I pray that God will help us. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.
perfect.